Mercedes CLA250. Fun, stylish, and cheap. Welcome back to Exotic Car Play Place, everyone. Thanks for joining in. This is proof that you can get luxury amenities in a bite size and budget package like we have right here. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about some of the exterior features that I like about this particular car. This car can be had for just a hair over $50,000 Canadian. Let's start out with some of the black trim that you can get. Now, this is a great upgrade. You'll notice black mirrors, black trim. You'll notice it as well on the front of the car. Black trim also extends along here and here as well. On top of that, I love this star look of these new Mercedes and some of these grills with these little stars. It really makes the car pop. It gives that very aggressive front end. This car as well, even though it's not a rocket ship, the front end of this car actually makes the car look even faster than it actually is. What I really enjoy about these CLA cars, they have more of a sporting intention. Also notice LED headlights, which is typical, of course, are featured in these cars, these CLAs. Then we move around to the side. Not an oversized wheel per se, but you've got 18-inch rims as factory here. Then we move down to the side of the car. You've got small, subtle skirts just to give it that slightly aggressive look as well. And so a couple things that I really like and can appreciate as well on the exterior of these CLAs is the fact that they've got this very aggressive look. They're very kind of sloped outwards. They've got a great road presence just with the very stance of them. They look a little more stylish as they flare out towards the bottom of the car. As well, you've got these great accents down here, these extensions on the exhaust tips, taillights, which again are a little more modern looking. 4MATIC, being we're talking about an all-wheel drive car in this case, front wheel drive as standard for the CLA. And another nice touch, of course, you've got this huge panoramic sunroof right here. It slides up and back, gives you lots of room inside, gives you that overall spacious feel, lots of light inside the car. We move forward, again, more of this accent, this dark look. Everything matches nicely on this car with this black trim. That's a must accent upgrade that you need on this car. And so what kind of review would this be if we didn't talk about what's in the heart of the beast? Pull the hood. Not much to look at here, unfortunately, but what we have here is a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that's turbocharged. It makes about 208 horsepower and as well about 258 pound-feet of torque. Actually provides a very nice tractable power delivery. It doesn't have the top end lungs, but it definitely comes on strong. There's a little bit of lag and followed up with a pretty substantial power band. But let's go for a quick drive here after we show you the interior, and then we'll talk about that. All right, so we slide in here. Not a mass abundance of space by any means. Again, I'm just shy of 6 foot. My head's kind of rubbing here lightly on the roof line. And of course, I would say it's not massive. This is, if you're looking for the larger car with lots of space, maybe consider a C-Class, definitely an E-Class that has a lot more room. But this is sporty and there is adequate room. There's actually room for 3 people. You can have, possibly 3 small children or a couple of full-size adults. You have this pull-through as well from the trunk. And you've got adequate space for as much as you need to do back here. You've got your basic 12-volt plug-in as well as a little garbage container and a couple of independent vents back here. This is just a place for a relaxed ride. Okay, so let's get into this fine new Mercedes. So let's take a look around, talk about a few of the features that basically exist in this car. So we'll start at the front here. What we have here is the interface. I'm going to plug in the ignition key. What we have here is a relatively small dash mounted display. Now, unfortunately, as you can see, it's a non-touch screen. This is getting changed. So for 2020, the CLAs will be updated and they'll have more of the modern, the A-Class style full-size screen. But for now, you just have this, which is controlled down here. You can change your menus as required. A similar system as BMW's iDrive, but here it's very simple to use. The controls are very nice. It's very responsive. So there's no problems with this and the way it activates. And looking at the door here, obviously we have door mounted seating controls here. We've got window controls, memories. We've got 3 points of memory for your seats. So 3 different people can actually sit here with their own individual settings. We've got a few different vents along this wonderful brushed panel, albeit plastic, but it looks like a moderate quality. There's a little bit of a cheapness to this part of this. However, it still fits with the overall montage of the car. Here we've got some nice trim, a slightly improved level of plastic in here as well as on the upper dash. This is a little better quality than you find here. But again, it's all consistent. It flows nice. The entire dashboard has everything that you need in it. Lots of ventilation. Then we look down into the center section here. You have all your, basically your stereo controls. You've got a CD player, which is a thing of yesteryear. Down here, you've had heated seats, both sides, driver and passenger, non-cooled in this particular case. You've got Drive Select, which gives you several different driving modes. You've got the auto shut off, as well as you can turn off or disable your parking backup alarms. Down here, ashtray. You've got your 12 volt available in there. One massive cup holder for your big cup. Gotta love that when you've just gotta get it, when you can't get enough of a beverage. Another couple of cup holders here. And then we pull this, we flip this up. You've got some plugins down there for your audio devices. Close that, slide that back. Again, adequate space. The seating here is good. Again, on the driver's side, if you look over here, we've got all the same seating controls that you find on the passenger side. The only difference is we have locking here for your windows. You have the full window controls on this side, mirrors, all the regular controls that you find in most cars. Here's your controls for your trunk. And then as I reach underneath, pull, release the trunk, the front engine lid. And then down under here, we actually have the park brake. This is where you find it in the Mercedes. Often BMWs put it somewhere in the dashboard. Now we can look at some of the basic features on the dashboard here. Let's look at this. The steering controls, pretty standard controls. You've got your audio controls. You can work with your left hand. You've got the phone, hands-free, and a bunch of other generic related to the phone and the audio systems. Now, if you look over here, because this is a sport shift system, you have the paddle shifters shifting up here as well as downshift on this side. Now, this control right here is actually how you enable your gears to select your reverse and your drive and your manual modes. Okay, so the next thing, let's start up the car. Now, and we'll show you what the dash looks like. So then looking down at the dash display, obviously we have a few different things going on. Your engine speed. Here, you've got your tachometer down here. You've got your basic gauges, temperature, as well as fuel gauges down there. So activating the lever here will change the gears. So we'll flip it up and you'll notice we're into reverse. Then pushing it down, we're back into drive. And then as soon as you pull on the up lever, you'll notice this will go into manual mode. Give that a tug. And now we're into manual. So now you can utilize the paddle shifters. And then if you want to switch it back to drive or auto mode, you basically just give this a tug one more time down, and you'll notice it's back in D. So that's the controls on the interior of the car in a nutshell. The car is not loaded with all of the extras that you don't need, air ride, and all those things that can start to fail on you with time. This car keeps it simple. Heated seats, power features, you've got the display, all of the good stuff. Turbo engine that makes the car move. That's all you need. So let's go for a drive now and we'll talk about my driving impressions. We've got the car in manual, and what I can tell you already, I've spent some time in the car, that there's distinctive turbo lag that you feel right away. But the beauty is this car is made for the street. It's very much a fat torque curve when you first get onto the throttle. Now it doesn't have that long lungs that you get in some of the racier engines, but that's not really the point of this car. If you want that, you get the AMG versions. This car here, driving along, it's a little on the sportier side. It's a little bit more rigid than you'd find in some of the upscale cars, but it's not too rigid that you can't live with this. As a matter of fact, it does a great job of gobbling up the bumps on the roads and some of the tough spots and potholes that we find in these roads. It eats them up quite well. The car still feels very composed and there's no issues, there's no rattles or shakes. It does feel quite solid. Considering a stiff ride that you would expect to hear a little more rattles and rolls, but you don't get that in this car. So as you can see, the roads are pretty nasty. Get on the throttle. The car barely feels the bumps. There's lots of potholes and cracks in the pavement, but it actually feels very, very well composed. So overall, I would say the ride quality is certainly more on the luxury side and less on the sporting side. But being that it's a Mercedes, often you consider Mercedes to be the ultimate in luxury and floaty ride. You don't get that floaty ride. The car does handle fairly well, it tracks straight, but in the corners, it does a great job of actually biting into the corners. It's very composed, and it still does have a fair amount of grip in the corners. So let's talk about some of the basic acceleration here. Okay, so we're in second gear, we're gonna merge onto the freeway. Let's see how this feels. Pull the gears, it's nice, strong, revs very, very smoothly, and at no time flat you're doing freeway speeds. So it's brisk enough. It certainly has what it takes to get up to freeways, no problem. It revs very low. It does keep the RPMs low on the highways to maximize your fuel economy. So it does a great job of giving you the fuel economy, but some of the luxury amenities that you would expect from Mercedes. So then driving along just in drive mode or automatic, the car is very quiet and relaxed and serene. There's really no reason to get excited, so you can drive it in a sporty fashion with the paddle shifts, or you can just idle along here as you were, just cruising along with no issues, no muss, no fuss. It's a very comfortable ride. It's very affordable, and quite frankly, I think this represents a great value in a sporting luxury experience from Mercedes. Honestly, one of the best luxury brands out there today. Some of the parts feel a little bit on the low rent side, but I think that's to be expected when you're buying a Mercedes in that $50,000 price range. You wouldn't expect all the top shelf finishing. You wouldn't expect wood grain and leather from top to bottom. You wouldn't get Alcantara in here. But those are all the extras that you're paying a lot of stuff that you don't necessarily need. And again, as I say, a lot of the technology you get in the premium cars you won't get here, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. After all, when these cars run out of warranty, then we know what repair bills and maintenance can look like. So keep it simple. This car is simple, fun, effective, and really a great experience that's affordable. You can buy one for yourself, you can buy one for your wife, and really everybody can use this car. Now it's a little bit tight in the cabin. Because it's a CLA, it's a slight bit smaller than the C-Class cars, so it definitely feels cramped. No, it definitely feels snug. I wouldn't say cramped, but it's a snug feel. For somebody that's touching 6 foot, it's a perfect ride. You're almost touching ceiling, but it's a good feel. It's all around, has a good blend of comfort, you know, that coziness, but again, it offers all the amenities you could possibly ask for in a modern Mercedes. So hope you guys enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it. This is a great car. For those people that don't necessarily want to spend 6 figures on their luxury car, you can still get the 3-pointed star, have some fun driving it, get some of the luxury amenities, and still enjoy it while having money in the bank Thanks again, everybody. Be sure to hit the subscribe button down there and the notifications bell, and we'll talk to you real soon. Catch you then. Bye-bye.